DstryMNL Fight Culture Podcast. Hosted by Carl Demessa and Jesse Reyes.
Okay, hello. This is the DstryMNL podcast. This segment is called Fighters First. First competition, first MMA fight, first of everything. And online, today, we are interviewing Miss Jade Lu,
Hello.
Fabricia Blue Belt, model of heels,
Yeah.
and just recently, MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Hello,
Finally.
Jade.
Hello.
Hello, Jade. Welcome to this DstryMNL podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How has it been, Jade?
Tiring, but it was good. I just came from Malaysia, so that was a nice break
Yeah.
from training.
But that was work, though, right? You didn't
Yeah.
train at all there?
It was, but I didn't get punched in the face there, so
Oh, that's
that was a
always
rest. That was a rest. No choking, no grappling, no punching for a week.
Yeah, away from all the tiring training.
Yeah, and I just got back, so it's exciting. It's exciting to get back after a while. You realize how much you miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jade, you had just had your first debut fight last end of July, July 31, right? At
July
Domination Fight League.
29, yeah?
Ch-
Yeah.
July 29.
Yeah.
July 29 at Domination Fight League. You
Yeah.
fought at
Yep.
strawweight. You fought against Denise
Yeah. Denise
Cabanag
Cabanag.
Cabanag.
Yeah.
But
She's
you were
from
supposed
Hybrid Yang Yan.
Mm.
hybrid, yeah.
Yeah. So she was a striker.
Yeah.
It was striker versus grappler that night.
Classic.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It was a fun experience. Um, you can tell that she's used to what she's doing.
Mhm.
So and I was new to strike. I am new to striking. So
Mm.
it was fun. It was different.
Was that her first fight too? Or you're
It
not sure?
was not her first fight.
Oh.
I believe
Ooh.
she'd been fighting before and she took a short break.
Uh-huh.
So that was her first fight after a break. But it
Wow.
was my first fight.
Oh, well, how was
Yeah.
that experience for you?
It was scary. Because in jiu-jitsu, when you fight, you're in an open mat. You're in an open space.
Right.
And this one is like, wow, you are in an enclosed space. You have two girls trying to beat each other up, basically.
How
So
scary
it was
was
different. Like the moment,
how scary was
yeah,
getting hit?
like so I went in the ring and I was like, wow, like you can't get out unless you tap out. But it's like there's no escape. It's like, okay, this is for real. And then they made us, like for the fight, so we had to go in, and then they closed the gate, and it's like, oh, it's real. Oh, it's
Did,
real.
did something click when they like locked it? Like,
Yeah, it's like, click. Oops. Oops. No backing out.
Was it
So
like
it was different. Like that.
what did I get myself
Yeah.
into moment?
A little bit. The first 10 seconds felt like that. Because like before the fight, it was kind of like pageantry involved. Like we know that in MMA there's some pageantry involved, right?
yeah, the
So like
walkout.
maybe half an hour before the fight, it's like, okay guys, here's a cue. You go in the
Uh,
cage, you kind
uh,
of do your thing, you go around, and then you get out. Like, all right, so the first while, my first time inside the cage, I was just there walking, and then your theme song is playing, and you're like,
what?
yeah.
Hey, what did you walk
And
out to,
then,
Jake? What was the
hmm?
song? What was the song you walked out to?
My song is Boys Wanna Be Her by Peaches.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Peaches, of course.
Of course. What fight name did
It
you
was
end up
good.
choosing?
Hmm?
What fight name did you end up choosing? Sorry.
I don't have one. I don't have
You
one yet.
haven't. You didn't.
I've been thinking, it's funny because I've been
Uh-huh.
thinking about that since I first started MMA class. Like the moment I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
into MMA class, I'm like, I wonder what my fight name's gonna be. And the first thing that I thought of, I was like, do you know the show Scrubs?
Yeah, Scrubs.
You know Elliot? There was this one
Oh, yeah,
episode. She was like, "I'm bitch slap Barbie." So I
yeah.
was like,
You
"Ooh,
were going to go with
I
that?
want that to be my name."
Nah, no. Nah, Barbie,
But
you should go with that, man. It's
what?
pretty long though. It's pretty
That
long.
was long. That was long. So I was like, let's just stick to Jade Lu until someone comes up with a better one for me. So for
Hey
now,
Jade.
I'm just Jade Lu.
Okay. Hey Jade. I
Yeah.
remember you were telling me because you were supposed to fight previously at UKC, right?
Yes. That
Can you
that
tell
is
us what happened
correct.
there? Yeah. What happened and you didn't fight?
Um,
The fight got
the thing with UKC is, you know how they release the names, your matchup, kind of a couple weeks before the fight.
Yeah.
And I was um I was matched up to a person named Ariane,
Oh.
who
Mhm.
is from a boxing gym. So the whole time we were
Mhm.
like, okay, this chick's gonna be a boxer. Like,
Mhm.
all right, Ariane, get ready.
Mhm.
And on the day of the fight, or actually the night before the fight, we find out Ariane is a dude.
Whoa.
So
Oh.
it was a mismatch.
Oh.
It was a dude. So it was a mismatch. So I
Girls
ended
got
up
balls.
he
Damn.
so he ended up fighting someone else, and I ended up not having a fight. So that was it.
Did they tell you what
Unfortunately,
happened?
yeah. What happened?
Uh,
No, no,
Yes. No
we
excuses.
just
Like, I'm
made a
sorry.
mistake. And the thing is, the sucky part was the weeks before, because I usually fight at 51 kilos. That's about
Uh,
112 pounds.
hmm.
uh,
And Ariane is 120. So we tried to
Wow.
make me go up 120. So on
what?
fight day,
Wow.
I weighed 116 ish. And the thing is, there was on the day there was another girl without a fight, but she was
Mhm.
like she weighed a lot less. She was, I think, 108.
Wow.
But she thought that I was too
Ooh.
heavy, so she didn't want to fight.
You didn't want to fight.
So
Ah,
basically, I gained weight and nothing.
That
for
sucks.
nothing. Ah,
That's it.
fighters
That's what
interruptus.
happened.
Oh, that's so. But,
Yeah.
So we had two
well, at
girls
least you got.
without a fight, and Ariane,
Uh-huh.
who had another fight. So
Yeah. Well, lucky for
that's
him.
it.
Amateur. Amateur league.
Yeah. So, Jade, just to ask, well, what made you want to fight in MMA?
um, I there was a gym before, like maybe 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in my first workplace, there was a gym that happens to have an MMA class, and I was like, wow, I've seen this on TV. So I tried it, and then I continued it. I just wanted something different because my background is not fighting. I do not do sports. I am bad at sports,
Yeah,
dude.
you're a dancer,
I'm
right,
so
Jade?
bad at sports. Um, what?
You have ballet. You have you have a ballet background, right?
Yeah, I did ballet. I did dancing. That's my
Uh,
thing. And sports, basketball, volleyball.
Wow. MMA
So
is very
yeah,
different.
it is, right? And I was like, there's no balls like whirling
uh,
at me.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. No, I am legit more scared playing basketball than jujitsu.
Wow.
Like
Oh,
legit. Cause like or volleyball. Volleyball's the scariest thing. Cause in volleyball you have a ball whirling at you,
Yeah.
uh,
and you just have to kind of hit it or avoid it, right? You can't tap out to a ball; it's gonna hit you.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, you tap out and it's done. Like you're safe.
Right.
You can't tap out a ball. So I am legit more scared to fight, not fight, to play volleyball than jiu-jitsu.
Well, speaking of
when did,
getting hit with a
yeah.
ball, weren't you scared of being hit with a fist on the face?
Kind of. It's more like I've conditioned in my mind that
Hmm.
it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
So like the weeks leading up to the fight, my coaches, my teammates, they were just not all out, right? But they were starting to strike already, like at 60%, 70%, trying to get me not to flinch.
Uh-huh.
So on fight day, with your adrenaline, I was
Yeah.
getting hit and I wasn't defending. I was like,
Oh.
girl, you missed the spot. Instead of putting my hand up, I was like down here. So it was okay. Getting hit wasn't as bad as I thought it would be,
Mm,
and it's probably because of adrenaline. Because
Hmm.
mm.
adrenaline makes you a little crazy, right? So yeah, a little bit.
So now you can take a legit hit. I want to talk about how you did the transition. I mean, from dance and ball sports to MMA and grappling. When did you think it clicked for you that hey, this is fun?
It was fun when you started learning to pin people.
Okay.
I couldn't submit people at first, but I could try to pin them down, and
Hmm.
that was fun.
Okay.
It clicked when be flexible and it worked for me. Like right now, let's
Hmm.
say, you know when people do X guard on you, like in jits,
Yeah. Uh,
and my defense to an X guard. Do you know my defense to an X guard? Have you seen it?
I have
My
seen it.
defense,
Describe it for
my
us, to the viewers who have
my
not
defense
seen
to an
your
X guard is to just
incredible flexibility.
right. So my defense to an X guard is just to do a
Uh,
split, and I'm like,
uh,
well, yeah,
there goes your
that's
X
it.
guard.
That's it. It's now a split guard. Ta-da! Um, but it wasn't so bad. The transition wasn't so bad because dancing has a lot of ground movement as well.
Yeah.
And so being on the floor and being in some awkward position wasn't so bad. But the thing that I had to adjust to was having another person be with me. Because
Okay.
in
Oh.
dancing, you can do it solo
Right.
Okay.
or you do it side by side. This one, it's like, nope, someone's foot is in my face
Yeah.
or something. I had to get used to that. And other such body parts, yeah.
Was it like awkward at
But
first?
yeah, it was awkward at first because you know how when you start, like I'm very thankful that my team they did it gradually. They didn't go all out, you know, berimbolo at the start. So at the start it was just side control, mount, right? Like
Hmm.
basic side control, mount, close guard.
Yeah.
And the thing that was awkward was, are you sure I have to go all out? Like I really have to choke you, not just like pretend choke.
Uh,
For real, like I can do it for real now.
yeah.
So that
Full
was fun.
full strength.
So I was allowed to do that. And same thing for MMA actually. It was like when I was learning how to strike,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously I've never really hit people. It
Hmm.
was always the bag, it was always the pad.
Uh,
So when I started MMA camp, Dwayne was like, Jade, you have to hit for real. Like, I don't want to hit the person. They're like, dude, I'm a bigger person than you. You're not gonna
Uh-huh.
hurt me as much. Plus,
Uh-huh.
there's a headgear, and
Hmm.
Dwayne
Yeah.
is used to. He's a fighter,
Yeah.
so he's like, Jade, it's not gonna hurt me, cause I know how this works. Like it's scary for you, cause it's your first time. So just hit me. Like okay.
Yeah.
Took a while. That took a while,
Because you
cause I
you're
was scared. Like I didn't want to, yeah, cause I didn't want to hit him like in the jaw. I didn't want to hit him in like the ear or something. Not that I thought I could take him out, but just the idea of doing that is just new to me. So that felt nice, kind of, sort of.
so
That sounds wrong, but it was already.
you think you're ready for more?
I am. The promoter messaged me yesterday. Actually, he was like, "Are you game to fight another one? We'll look for a match
Uh-huh.
for you." And I told them I was like, you know what, I'm
Uh-huh.
game, but I have to discuss it with Dwayne,
Hmm.
because he
Uh-huh.
can gauge if I'm ready for another fight or not, or work on something. Because like it's different when you're training versus when you test it out,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
at training, I felt good. I thought I was doing okay, and
Mhm.
then during the fight, shows you, all right, this is what happens in a fight, which is different from when you're training. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to
In
discuss that with Dwayne, and then he can tell me if I'm ready.
Jade, in hindsight, do you
Yeah.
think do you think you know the fighting in terms of what you just experienced,
Hmm.
if you were to analyze the fight, what would you have done differently? Was there anything you wanted done differently? Of course, you probably
I
wanted
would have
the
done a
whole
lot of
thing
things
to
differently.
tell us.
No, okay. Um, First, I would have kept my hand up.
Right.
She wouldn't have stopped me with nose. I have a thing on my nose right now. That's from her. Um, I would have kept my hand up. That's what. No, but I think I would have done. I would have executed the game plan better. Um, because
Which was
I
to
feel
take her
like
to
I
the
had a
ground.
good game plan going on. And the thing I told them, post fight, the reason why I'm not over it isn't because I lost. Like I can accept loss.
Hmm.
Part of the sport, right? But the thing that really gets me, like why I'm not over it, is because in my mind, everything keeps replaying. Like I could have done this, I could have done that.
Mhm.
Like I was so focused. For example, I was so focused on the clinch. I wanted to get that hip throw.
Mhm.
That wasn't working. In hindsight, I could have done a double leg takedown. In hindsight, I
Okay.
could have done a cold shigari, you know?
Okay.
So all that kept playing in my head.
So it would have been implement your judo because sorry, what belt are
Yeah.
you in judo now?
Yellow.
You're
Just
yellow,
yellow.
and then of course
Yeah.
MMA wrestling, of course. You've been
Yes,
training in
yes,
that,
definitely.
so it's more take
Um,
her to the ground and then submit her.
I wanted to take her to the ground. That's the thing that frustrated me, was I wasn't able to do that
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that I was stronger on the ground. Again, she's the striker, I'm a grappler. If
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, what if I jump guard? What if I pull guard?
Oh,
Crazy thing,
oh.
something I know, right? Like just to be on that level.
Bring her to the
It's not
ground.
the
Yeah.
best. I know that, but
Uh-huh.
you could have as someone who's just more comfortable on the ground, you just think, what
Yeah.
if I did that? How bad would it have been? Would it have been
Damien
worse
Maya
than my
style.
stand up? What?
Damien Maya style.
Right, right. So, like, okay, my striking is not the best.
Hmm.
So in my
Mm.
mind, I'm like, if I pulled guard, how much worse could it have been compared to me standing? It could not have been
Exactly.
worse. So now in my
Exactly.
mind, I'm like, maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. Things would have been different if I pulled guard. Things would have been different if I went down and tried to do an X guard and tried to get her back or something like that. did a berimbolo or something. you know, at that point, I felt like, well, after the fight, when I replay it in my mind, it's like based on the outcome that came about, there was really nothing to lose. If I pulled guard, it wouldn't have been much worse. if I jumped guard, it wouldn't have been much worse. So that's the
Okay.
thing that really got to me actually. The whole I could have done this, you know? So next time, I think
The
next time
hindsight.
we
Yeah.
could
Yeah. Well, at least you learned a lot from that fight.
definitely. I learned that stage fright is not your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y-
Surprising thing after the fight,
Yeah.
because they do a medical checkup. They check your face if anything
Yeah.
broke. They check your pressure
Yeah.
and everything.
How are sorry, how are
And
your injuries? Just very quickly. Did you have anything broken?
thankfully, thankfully, like my face was just swollen for a few days, but after that it was
Oh,
fine, right?
wala na siya.
And
Okay.
so when they
Sorry.
check my pressure, when they check my
Yeah.
BP, my pulse, it wasn't it didn't seem like I was like super hyped up
Mhm.
during the fight. It was on the calmer side. It just shows like, okay, physically I wasn't freaking out, but mentally I was really freaking out. Like mentally I was blank and hyped at the same time. Like I forgot everything else. I forgot to set it up with a jab. I forgot to hit with the correct leg, you know, blank. But I was hyped in my mind at the same time just to get that clinch because that was part of the game plan, was to get the
Yeah.
clinch. So it's like it was a mental game.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
medical checkup, it really showed it was a mental game, dude.
You look awesome though.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You
I
chose
think it's
everything
also the
so.
diet because leading up to
The
the
diet.
to the fight, like last May, I had to reach almost 120. I was 116 during
Mm-hmm.
weigh-in, and right after that, I had to lose weight because this girl was 110,
Yeah.
115.
Yeah.
I was 111. I had to lose like 5, 6 pounds.
Wow.
And the
Plus you
thing is
carb.
with me, hmm?
Sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. The thing with me is I want to reach fight weight as soon as possible so that I'm training at fight weight. I'm used to my body already. And so leading up to the fight, I was just eating vegetables, man, like raw vegetables, eggs, healthy eating. And I think that contributed to, some side effects.
Plus you
So
coordinated
I
your
was
outfit
happy.
so nicely.
Yes, yes. I thought about my outfit long and hard. I was like, you know what? She's probably gonna wear black. She looks like the type to wear black, which she did. So I was like, no, I'm gonna wear pink. I'm gonna
Ah.
wear leopard pink. So I did. So, style points. That's it. That's all that I went there for. That was my consolation.
uh,
Overall though, go ahead, please. Sorry.
oh yeah, yeah. Continue. No.
Overall,
The thing is, yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
But no, I was just saying, like, I think it's not important. But I think there's a thing about being girly and and fighting,
Mm,
because like when you say fight sports, when you say, oh, she's a fighter, like the last thing you think about is a feminine person.
right.
You think she's like rough and tough and brusco. And I think that's one thing that keeps other women from getting into fight sports. They don't want the grime. They don't want to look haggard. They don't want to, they don't want to be dirty. So I'm just trying, like, hey girls, guess what? You can be girly and you can fight too. You know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
dude, I colored my nails for that fight. My nails, you can't
What?
see it in the
What?
photos, but I was like, my nails were gold for that fight. I bought
Attention
nail
to
polish.
detail.
But the thing is, like, ever since my first fight, my first jiu-jitsu fight around 3-4 years ago, from the first
Mhm.
fight, I would always color my nails. That is my pre-fight ritual. My nails are always colored, man. So yeah,
I'm sure
I'm
they
gonna
look
keep that
awesome.
going. I don't know. That's therapeutic, I guess. You know how some people they have to calm. Well, you have to calm down before a fight, and me, you know, you can't move for a couple hours. That kind of forces me to relax. Like, yeah, okay, let's visualize. So yeah, I think it's important that women realize that you can be girly, and you can be
Yeah.
feminine, and you can be kikai. I'm for that.
Super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, my hashtag throughout my fight prep for my fight is fight like a girl. And I think that's one thing that has to be recognized. When, like, even in jujitsu, men and women fight differently. Like,
Exactly.
we are just different creatures, you
Yeah.
know? And so, you know what? I'm not gonna fight like a dude. I'm a girl. I'm gonna fight like a girl. That's how it is. And I think women should know that. I think women, when we say fight like a girl, that can be a good thing, and that
Yeah.
should be a good thing because women fight their own way, and women should be able to fight. I think in this day and age, like, you have to admit that it's a scary time. Like the world is pretty scary. Like, you will just never know what's gonna come up, and I think women should be equipped that way. Because,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
a
Exactly.
lot of girls, they carry bags, right? They carry purses. And what do they have in their bags? They have an umbrella just in case it rains. They have alcohol just in case it gets dirty. They have tissue just in case they need to go to the restroom. Well, why can't you equip yourself with skills just in case something not nice is going to happen,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right?
I wanted to ask you about equipping girls. Weren't you teaching
Yes.
some sight impaired women to do jits?
Yes. Every other week, I'm teaching visually impaired ladies some jujitsu, and that one is more self-defense oriented in terms of the techniques that I decided to teach first is something that they can use in a self-defense basis. So, for example, I wasn't teaching them chokes or submissions yet. The first thing that I taught them was break fall, side control escape, mount escape, technical stand up, things that they can first use
Yeah.
outside the mats. Because one thing that I really emphasize um, when because sometimes I teach girls jujitsu a little bit, is there's a difference between jujitsu for sport and jujitsu skills applied in real life. The mat, you have no referees. Outside the mats, when someone wants to hurt you, they can possibly kill you. Like, that's
Definitely.
within the realm of possibilities. In jiu-jitsu for sport, on the mats, nobody's supposed to die. That's a freak accident. In fact, you're not even supposed to hurt the person. Allowed, certain techniques are not allowed because you don't want to hurt your opponent, right? Because it's a sport. But outside the mats, anything goes. A guy can have a knife, a guy can punch you in the face. So I really emphasize the fact that, I jiu-jitsu for sport. But if I had to apply it outside in a self-defense situation, I'm going to scratch the guy.
Yeah.
You can apply your jiu-jitsu technique plus survival skills. It's important to know the difference.
Tama. Tama.
There's just, there are people who troll. And trolls, right? Like
Big trolls.
I could show a girl to learn how to escape. For example, okay, lesson number one, side control escape. You have to start somewhere. Side control escape. And trolls would come at you and be like, oh, what if he had this? What if he did this? What if I'm like, dude, wait a minute. if you if a guy attacked me on the street, I won't just push him. I will probably poke him in the eyeballs. Like that's what you do when someone's attacking you on the street, right? And that's something that I think, again, people should recognize, people should realize. Like, it's important to learn these skills and know when and where and how to apply them, especially women. So I'm all for women that fight, and that's the thing with these visually impaired girls. You know, they already have impairment with their vision. So one thing is self-defense. The second thing is to just understand how the body works. Because sometimes, for example, break fall, that's not necessarily someone attacking. It could be them falling down. And you don't want to be injured and be visually impaired. That's going to be harder, right? So, you know, those skills as well. Like, at the same time, they're learning certain skills that they can use every day. You know, just a little bit extra that they can use.
You are just amazing, man.
Yeah.
How hard is it to teach these girls?
It's hard in terms of you have to really prompt them. Because, for example, I teach 4 girls. So 3 of them are just like visually impaired, and 1 is fully blind. So the 3 girls, they can sort of see what you're doing, right? But the 1 visually impaired girl, she's totally, right? Because what we don't realize is in class, we rely a lot on looking at people.
Yeah.
Our instructions are always, do it like this, do it this way, do it like this. But when you're teaching someone blind, you can't say it's like this. No, they can't see it. They can't see what you're about to do to them. So you have to, there is the physical prompt. You have to put their hand, you have to move their hand with your hand. Sometimes I have to take her hand, I have to put it here, put your hand here, or something, you know? And then I have to demo it to them. It's like, okay, look, I'm gonna put my hand here across your neck. What you have to do is you have to put your hand here and defend yourself for it to make sense to her, because she couldn't see what's happening. It's hard to make sense of it. That's the challenge there. You can see things, you can see the bigger picture quite clearly. This is the situation. When you can't see anything, you can't necessarily understand the context of what's going on. So that's the challenge. The challenge is to make her understand the context and the situation. So it's tedious, but it's all right. Once you get the feel of it, it's okay. So we just do like 1 technique a day.
Okay.
Sorry. Am I talking too much?
That's okay. That's okay.
It's
I
fine,
feel
man.
like I'm getting into that nitty-gritty details.
No, it's fine. Details are awesome.
How rewarding is
But
it
yeah.
to be able to
Like,
teach
I
them?
like it.
How does it feel to actually be able to help them? I mean, they're visually impaired, and you get to share your knowledge of jiu-jitsu with them. How fulfilling is it?
It feels good. It feels really good. Because at the end of the day, this is a service.
Right.
And it feels good to do service. It's like, what can I do to contribute to society, right? What is one thing that I can do that will, help them? It's so easy and I'm not saying it's bad. Like, it's nice to give, for example, donations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to me personally, I like something a little bit longer than donating 20 pesos. Like I don't know, like that 20 pesos is gone.
Yeah.
There's Coach Jack. That 20 pesos is gone within the day, and I'll be happy to help someone for a day. That feels great. But then you kind of want something a little more sustainable, something that's a little more long term. If I teach you one technique today, and you practice it, you may be able to use that a long time. It can save your life, you know.
Yeah.
So that's that was what's in my mind. Um, so it's literally just giving time and effort to someone and trying to make a difference a little bit.
Yeah.
Because what do I have? I don't really have much in terms of resource, like physical resource, but I do have, you know, these other resources. I have training. Coach Stephen is nice to allow us to do it in the gym. That's a
Yeah.
resource, and that's great. And I'm happy that other people are supportive of it. You know, why not pool all this and try to make a difference in someone's life and set an example? And that's one thing that I do want. I want to do. It's not so much to be known as a good fighter or a good athlete, but it's more
Yeah.
to be a good example to others. Like you can keep the gold medals. I can spark the world, the change in the world.
Right.
That's a good enough exchange for me. You know. Well, of course, you know, medals are nice too. Not gonna lie, it's always nice.
Shiny medals are
But
always awesome.
it kinds of things just put things to perspective for me in terms of what happens beyond the mat. You know,
Mhm.
because there will always be wins and losses on the mat, and then there's life. It's like, okay, what now, right? So it's like, all right, how do I make the world a better place? After competition, after class, what can we do to make the world a better place? Well, we can help others. So that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to set an example, trying to empower others.
Mhm.
And the thing that really made me want to do this, well, first was empowerment. If you've seen the visually impaired do sports, I'm not a lot, but in a lot of sports that they're doing, they need someone to help them. For example, if they do running
Mhm.
or swimming, usually they have a companion. They have a sighted companion that will guide them and show them where to run, where to swim, and how to do it. In that sense, when they're doing sports, they're still pretty dependent on someone.
Right.
But if you do contact jiu-jitsu, it's just you. Like your victory, I mean, of course, you're technique wise, you're the sum of your parts. But in terms of effort that you put in, that's on you. You don't need other people to fight with you.
Yeah.
Like when you're on the mat, that's you. So that's what I want. You know, that's what I want them to experience. Not that encouraging them or telling them to have to compete. That would be nice, but obviously, like, that's not a priority.
Yeah.
The priority here is for them to feel like, listen, I can do things without sight. Like I can defend myself, I can be strong, I can learn things, I can join a class like everyone else and not need special, not a lot of special accommodations and stuff like that. So that's what I want them to feel. I want them to really be integrated because we're all for jiu-jitsu will say, oh look, we're so different. Like you're a lawyer and you're a chef and you're like a student and everyone's or just one. Well, visual impairment is just one other aspect, and you can totally integrate someone with that with everyone else. And I think that's one thing that people should realize. Because when I told them that I was teaching blind women,
Mm.
the first thing that they said was, "Oh, that's hard." Well, it's not hard. It's tedious. So it's not really hard. that, you know, with a little effort, you can do it. And with a little effort, they can be part of the class. They can be part of the regular class.
Right.
That's the goal.
Hmm. uh, by the way, I heard you do FMA training too.
Yeah, I train almost every day,
Hmm.
whenever I can. So sometimes that's 7 days in a week.
Mm, oh.
Um, but of course, you know, sometimes you skip training and you go eat out instead.
Which
Work-life balance, right?
yeah. Which
That's the
style do
beauty of
you?
training 7 days a week. Which style?
Yeah.
Of which one?
For
Well, my main thing now is jujitsu.
mhm.
No gi more than gi, I think. Just because I started with no gi first. So, yeah. I teach the visually impaired girls no gi jujitsu first. And we want to eventually transition to gi because the gi has more grips.
Yeah.
So if you're visually impaired, you do want that tactile, you know, feeling more. So we're trying to transition to that.
What about with your FMA training, your Filipino martial arts training?
For FMA, I haven't. Well, I try to go there whenever I can. Well, I'm trying out Calis,
Mm-hmm.
so that's again something else. Sword fight, which is great. I love it, and that's another thing that people don't realize. You can integrate into you can integrate that into MMA. You can
Yeah.
integrate that into jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
without the swords, of course, because it teaches you hand movement. It teaches you timing. So I really see value in that. I think everything, like if you just you just have to think about things in a different way. So people think, oh, it's sword fighting. How can that be? How can that be MMA? MMA
Yeah.
doesn't have weapons. But if you think about it, hand movement, awareness, all that really contributes.
And it all ties together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's why I definitely see value in it. Um, I still continued gi training during MMA camp. Not as much, but I still did it because even if MMA didn't have a gi, again, the skills that you learn, like sweeps or leg positions, those things contribute.
Hmm. Yeah. And well, one other thing that I heard about you is you're into guns as well.
Yes,
Yeah. Can you
yes.
tell us about that?
Yes, I am.
Big guns.
Yeah.
What was that?
Big guns.
I do guns. Well, they're not mine. I borrow them. Again, the one reason why I take because I don't own any gun and I don't really now in my mind I don't intend to. But again, the whole self-defense, the world is a scary
Right.
place thing um, comes into play. Because before I literally held a gun for the first time 5 years ago, and I remember it was in the firing range in Quezon City. I remember the first time, and like we were just two girls, and we just wanted to try it out. I remember the first time I held a gun, I was scared of the gun. I was scared of how it would sound. I was scared of it, right? And I was scared of the gunfire and everything. And I realized, sometimes that's what bad guys use.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the gun. They don't necessarily want to shoot someone, but they do want to scare people. And being exposed to guns makes you. I mean, I'm still scared, but I'm not freaking out anymore. Like right now, if I hear a gunshot, I'm not gonna panic. I'm gonna be aware. I'm gonna try to be careful, obviously, but I'm not gonna panic and freak out and cower into like a little ball.
Yeah.
Probably would have if I've never carried a gun before. I probably would cower in fear if I'm not exposed to guns as much as I am right now. But I'm not a shooter. I'm not like, I can't shoot as well as other more experienced people or people with more practice do. But one thing I can say is, compared to someone with zero gun experience, I'm less scared.
Yeah.
In a situation that involves a gun, I could probably think a little better just because the sound doesn't startle me anymore. Like there's no shock factor with sounds anymore. At least right now, in terms of me thinking about it right now, because it's an observation. I've seen people like, if it's their first time in a gun range and they hear a gun shoot,
Yeah.
like they're not prepared and they hear a gun shoot. The first thing that they do is to kind of do this and to kind of cower a little bit, right? I mean, understandably, I did that too my first time. But as the day progressed, as they got used to hearing it, as they understood, listen, a gun's not going to shoot you or not going to hit you unless A, it's pointed at you, or B, it ricochets
Right.
towards you. So with that understanding, they're going to freak out a little less. And as the day progressed, I see these same people, when they hear a gunshot, they don't get as scared anymore. Like, yeah, there's a little shock, but they don't cower like that anymore. They're like, oh, okay, all right, you know. And I think in any self-defense situation, like just that of just not freaking out could help someone. That could be the difference between safety and danger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus,
So
if
I'm
the zombie apocalypse ever comes, you'll know when to double tap.
right. There you go.
So yeah, from
So
from
yeah.
from dancing to MMA to jiu-jitsu to guns and to FMA.
Yeah.
You're a pretty tough woman.
I try. I
Badass.
do my own
Badass,
stunts.
yeah.
You do your, that should be your fight name.
Right. Jade Badass
Mhm.
Lu.
Yeah,
Badass.
that could be. No, I think I'm just trying to. I just think the world is a scary place, and I think that's pretty sad,
Yeah.
honestly. I hate to think that the world is a scary place, but you kind of have to just accept the fact that it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
At some point,
that's
the
what
idea,
that's
your
what I'm
idea about the
advocating,
world. Sorry, go ahead.
right? It's a sick, sad world, and
Yeah.
I'm advocating it, but I hate the fact that it just confirms that the world is scary. But then again, it's like,
Yeah.
if you don't encourage people to defend themselves, it's gonna be an even scarier place, and we
Yeah.
don't want that. So right
I
now,
mean,
I'm
some
advocating
people live in a
women.
bubble, right?
Exactly. So now I'm just advocating for women to defend themselves. You don't have to be an MMA athlete. You don't have to learn how to hit someone necessarily. That would be cool, but you not necessarily. First things first, defend yourself.
Well, what advice can you give to women who want to try out, say, jiu-jitsu or MMA but are really scared?
The first thing that you have to know, or the number one advice is, one, look for a good gym.
Mm.
And I think this is important because it's a good gym when people take care of you.
Yeah.
People think MMA, jiu-jitsu, or fight sports is all about violence. But ironically, the whole thing, fight sports, is learning how to take care of another person.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, people, like, when you tap out, you have to know, you have to understand your partner's limits. You don't even call them opponents in the gym. Your partner. They're partners. You have to take care of them because if your partner gets injured, you have no more partner and you can't progress. You have to know how to take care. So I think that's one thing that's important. Number one, for people who are more experienced, for example, me, I've been doing this for a few years. So compared to a first timer, obviously, like I would have more technique, more experience. And it's my responsibility not to ragdoll them. It's my responsibility to understand, listen, it's this girl's first day. I will not scare her. I will not choke her so hard that she doesn't want to come back. I will take care of her so that she learn, so that we'll both progress. So number one, look for a good gym. Number two, when you find that good gym, understand that people will take you because it's a good gym, if it's a good team. I have gone to class with people with ego. And what I mean by that is, for example, just as an example, let's say he's a Muay Thai fighter, right? And he goes to Jiu-Jitsu. So you have a big guy versus me, small girl. And having more experience, I could, do certain techniques on him. Having ego would muscle up. He would try to choke me out, And that's not cool. That's not what this is about. It's not about, hey, you're a big, strong guy and you have to overpower. It's not about that. It's about, listen, if you muscle up and I muscle up, one of us is going to get injured. And it's probably me just because I'm smaller than you. Cool. I don't want to play with you anymore. You lose a playmate. And that's one thing that women have to understand as well. In especially in jiu-jitsu where it's all body contact. You have no personal space, right? In boxing, you and your instructor are a hand away. You're an arm's length away.
Yeah.
You're not touching anyone, basically. But in jiu-jitsu, you have no choice. The first thing you do is wrap your legs around the other person. And one thing that I blogged about this, and one thing about jiu-jitsu, well, jiu-jitsu specifically, is women learn when to say no or when it's okay for them or how, when and where and how they are to be touched. Because in our gym, we have a rule. If you don't want to roll with someone, you say so, and that has to be respected. You can't force someone to put their body on you.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good rule.
That's just not how this works. In the gym, especially towards women, it's like, listen, if for any reason at all, you don't want to roll with someone, you don't have to, because that's okay. And I think women have to understand that those kinds of things, taking care of your opponent, not rolling when you don't have to, telling someone if someone freaks you out, that those things actually exist. Those rules exist in the gym, in a good gym. And I'm lucky that our gym has those rules. I come from a good gym, and those rules are being enforced. Like, if I find someone creepy and I don't want to roll with him, I don't need a reason. I just say, you know what, I kind of don't want to roll with him. Like, leave it, And I think the one thing that intimidates women is the fact that you have to roll. There has to be contact with someone. I must admit, my first couple times it was awkward. I'm just a little crazy and want to choke someone. That's why I kept coming back. But women have to know that there are rules like that. And I think if they understand that those things exist, it'll be less scary. They'll know that, hey, listen, it's a fight sport, but number one, above all, even in competition, above all, safety comes first.
Yeah.
Two, in competition, safety comes first. There's a reason why rules exist, and those rules exist because of safety.
And I think those rules are something that all gyms should have.
I believe any good gym would have those rules or iterations of those rules. And I'm stressing good ones because different cultures, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I just don't understand certain gyms maybe, things like that. So it's important that, again, women understand these. Because even if the rules exist and women don't understand them, then there's kind of no point because you don't understand it. So it's important that they understand that these things happen.
Mhm.
You should be taken care of as a student, as a client, as a paying customer. Yeah. There's that level of care. I mean, let's face it, like the gym is a business.
Yeah.
And if you keep injuring all your clients, if you keep injuring all your students, they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
And it's bad for
So in a
business.
business perspective, right? In the business perspective, you do have to take care of them. But in the jiu-jitsu culture of things, you do have to take care of each other.
Yeah.
It's about, brotherhood, and true brothers would probably would take care of them, would
Mhm.
take care of each other. Same thing with us sisters.
Yeah. And by the way,
So,
do you have any upcoming fights?
well, jiu-jitsu is coming up
Yeah.
September 30. There's nationals. So I plan to attend that one.
Where's
So
that gonna be
yeah,
done?
no more, not no more, but no striking for a little bit. I'm gonna focus on grappling up to September. This is gonna be in Mall of Asia.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see if we can
Yeah,
watch you grapple there live.
yeah,
Jade, are your sponsors the
that's
same?
it.
That Fat Bastard? Is that an insurance company?
Yeah. Right now the ones to me are Phil Insure and Fat Bastard Wines.
Mm.
Yeah. So they have been gracious. I am very thankful for their support because their support allows me to, to keep training. And the more I train, the more I want to help others. So it's a chain. It's a chain. You really just want to, I think the moment that whole helping bug bites you, you kind of want to do more. You kind of want to help some more.
Yeah.
It's nice
And
to
right
give back.
now, hmm?
It's nice to give back.
It is nice to give back. And right now, like I teach the visually impaired every other week. So it's kind of think, okay, I have every other week. How else can I help other people?
Yeah.
So it makes, yeah, the
Hey, is
moment
that
you
is the
you help
women class
someone,
open to? Is the visually impaired class open to other women as self-defense class?
the self defense. Well, for self defense class, that's open to everyone. For
Hmm.
now, I'm just saying my students, because it is a bit challenging to teach the visually
Yeah.
impaired. And
Hmm.
at one point, I do want, there have been some other teammates that have offered to help me out teaching. But I think for now, just because they're starting, it would be better to just have one instructor
Yeah.
first, you know? And I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm just saying, I kind of started this. So we'll see. We'll give them a good foundation first. All this, I'm consulting with our head coach, Coach Stephen. Um, in fact, sometimes he observes the class. So at least I know that, we're going the right direction. But after we give them a foundation, I do want maybe to integrate them to the regular class, even once in a while. And then maybe eventually we can expand the class and maybe we can ask other teammates to help out.
Yeah. Just a moment, Jade. Just have to fix something. All right. So yeah. By the way, do you have anything you want to promote?
Ah, what do I want to promote? No, I just want
Like,
to
how did
thank
that skills thing came about?
I just want to thank Fat Bastard Wines and Villansure for supporting me throughout all this. I want to thank Coach Stephen for being a supportive coach, and to my teammates. One thing that I really want to thank them for is just the fact that nobody ever told me I can't do it.
Yeah.
Everybody's always been supportive. Like, all our teammates have been supportive of each other. I think that's really cool, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm really thankful for everyone that helps me along the way.
Overall, Jade, was your first MMA experience visceral enough for you? Was it better or worse than you expected?
It was better than I expected. My biggest fear was to get knocked out. She's from Yao Yao.
I think it's everybody's
she's gonna
fear.
do a back fist and she's gonna knock me out. Like, I was scared of that.
Oh,
But that didn't happen.
Mhm.
So that's a win
we
for
will
me.
definitely see you fight again, though,
What else?
in the cage.
Right? And just the fact that I went through it, that was a good experience. So now, because every time you fight, it exposes what you're good at and what you're not good at. So now my coaches know what to work on or what to drill, and that's good. So I'm pumped for the next one. I'm pretty excited to go through the next. So let's see.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'd
how
love
we
to
do.
see more of you.
I
I
have
hope
to.
to
Oh
see
no!
that.
I have to get better outfits.
Oh yeah, you can't wear that same outfit.
No, of course not. And then I have to coordinate that with my nails and everything. It's complex. Fight sports is complex.
Yeah.
Especially the walkout song. New walkout song.
A new song? I might have a new song.
Yeah.
I
New
might.
song. Mm-hmm.
I already have one in mind, but we'll see.
Thank you so much, Jade.
Thank you, Jade. Thank you
All
for
right. Pleasure.
allowing
You're
us to interview you.
Of course. No problem.
Yeah.
And thank you for supporting your local fighters. I think they definitely need more support. Men
course.
and women.
Definitely.
We're looking forward to seeing you in the pros.
Let's hope it gets there.
I'm sure it will.
Let's see. All
Bye,
right.
Jade.
Bye, Jade.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye. Thanks, man.